Hello and welcome to this edition of FiTV. I'm your host, Brad Swanson, and we are coming to you just a few blocks from Florida's capital during this crazy political season. I am joined by Wendy Spencer, President and CEO of Leadership Florida. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you.
Well, Leadership Florida is an august program for leaders across Florida. Folks may have done their local leadership programs through their chamber or their United Ways, and as they rise in their involvement in their communities, they find out about Leadership Florida, and it's amazing. So instead of me telling this story, I'd love to hear it from the President and CEO's mouth. Tell us about the mission of Leadership Florida.
Well, thanks, Brad. What I love to tell about Leadership Florida when I explain it to people is what it is not, because that surprises people. People automatically think, oh, it's a leadership development program for people across the state of Florida. While we do some of that development, personal and professional development, it's actually not a leadership development program per se. What we do is we recruit applicants from across the state, executives from across the state, who apply to competitively compete to be invited to be in a group of 55 executives, mostly C-suite and up, C-suite, CEOs, presidents of a diverse group of organizations. And we put them in a group together, a cohort we call a class, and of 55 of them, and we take them around the state 4 or 5 times a year to different cities and expose them to a variety of issues. And I'll give you some examples of that in a minute. But what's great about it is you bond with these other 54 other classmates of yours. You learn from them. You build this trust. And you become very, very close for life because you are in this class for the rest of your life, as you are aware because you were in class 37.
That is correct. The best class for anybody who's watching, don't forget, 37. All right,
which is always great. So that is our traditional class. We now run 4 total programs.
Okay. Yeah, so before we go into the other 4 programs, I think it's important, so when people talk about competitively compete, not without giving up the secret sauce, but we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit. I think the diversity matrix and process you go through is fascinating to look at that. Can you walk people through? Because some people might be thinking, oh, I'm not the right type of CEO or the right type of executive director or the right type of, tell us about kind of what goes into the secret sauce of picking an applicant.
Well, we have hundreds of people apply, Floridians, every year. So it's very, very competitive if you get down to just 55. And actually, to tell you the truth, 90% of the applicants qualify. They're very engaged in their community, they're executives, they have a wealth of background in community involvement in leadership roles. But what actually allows you to get in a class is the diversity of the class. So we take consideration of, I call it the GROG, geography, gender, occupation, and race. Right. So we really try to we try to match the state of Florida by all of these things. Have a blend from all over the state of Florida, all different types of occupations, a blend by race and gender, hopefully about 50-50 on gender. Much easier today than it was when we started 39 years ago. Sure. Highly male-oriented, in leadership then, but now not as hard at all to get women to apply and accepted. But we try to blend that so that you have all these different diverse occupations and points of view. So we'll have somebody from agriculture, from law enforcement, an elected official, from the private sector, from social service, from education, in all levels. So you see it, and then you're in this cohort with all these different leaders that you wouldn't normally hang out with.
Yeah, well, I think that's the coolest thing is really any type of leader, whether you're leading in the surf industry or whatever, you should be eager to apply because everybody's got a shot based upon that kind of algorithm. Okay, so we're about halfway through, so let's run through the types of leadership programs. So start at kind of the most venerable and
our traditional one, Cornerstone, we call it the Cornerstone class. That's CEOs or the C-suite from a diverse background, ages 40 and up. Okay. The second program is called the Connect class program. That is the same diversity as far as occupation and all the things that I mentioned, except they are for ages 25 to 39.
Got it.
in that group. Now, then we have an education class. This was originally funded and still funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Florida Department of Education, the Helios Education Foundation, and some other funders. Same diversity as far as gender, race, geography, but everyone is engaged in education sector in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is, and all the topics, unlike the other classes, are around the education sector.
Oh, that's exciting.
So that's pretty fun. Yeah. And then our fourth class we run every other year, not every year. It's an invitation only, not competed, and it's called our executive class. Those are primarily executives, CEOs, high-level C-suite from large Florida institutions,
right.
Mostly the for-profit and industry area that they wouldn't be able to give us as much time.
Right.
We only do one session with them over a very long weekend, and now we include spouses.
Right.
So that one's a little bit different.
Right. Well, what a diverse organization in its both sensibility and its classmates and its leadership, and it's just amazing. All right, so we've got about 30 seconds left. So if folks, you just announced the new class. Real quick, how has COVID changed your programming?
Yeah, it really has. We
5
normally
seconds.
would have had 3 classes running in September, October, November, and December. So we pushed everybody back to January.
Okay.
So we'll start the classes in January, assuming it's still safe to convene at that time.
Of course.
We'll make a decision
Of
on
course.
that in December.
If our viewers are interested in applying, how do they do it?
LeadershipFlorida.org.
Okay.
I encourage people not to get discouraged if they don't get in the first time.
Right.
We've had that I know of 2 board chairs who it took 3 times to get in the
Right,
class.
that's the metric I heard when I was doing my research. Okay, where can we find you on social media?
So Leadership Florida, just put us in everything, hashtag Leadership Florida everywhere. I mean, we're all over the place, Instagram, LinkedIn.
All right.
Facebook, we got it all.
Well, I know this wasn't enough time to really hear about all the amazing successes that Leadership Florida has accomplished, your annual meeting, et cetera, but we're grateful to hear what we learned today about Leadership Florida. We want to have you back on to tell us more of your great successes.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Appreciate you coming on. That's all the time we have for this portion of FiTV. Make sure you hit us up on our social media feeds for more great interviews just like this one. For now, thanks for tuning in.